Now, the Green World Water Project, that kind of hits two birds with one stone. It generates electricity and it generates potable water. Now, that's going to be great in especially underserved markets out there. Now, and also here in the U.S. we might need that because water is becoming a scarce commodity now.
Yeah, particularly in
Um,
the western U.S.
the question would be, how would people feel comfortable about drinking a nuclear desalinated water?
Well, essentially, there's no connection between the reactor and the water. Essentially, the reactor produces heat, and then that heat boils water that's separate from the reactor system, and then that water in turn is turned to steam, and then it goes out to another process, and that steam is used to heat the seawater and separate the salt from the fresh water when it condenses back into fresh water. So there's no touching of the two waters. Much like all reactors in the U.S. today, there's 104 of them, and they're all cooled by either the ocean or lakes or rivers. And of course, there's no contact between the reactor, the radioactive aspects of the reactor, and these bodies of water. Otherwise, we'd have a lot of contaminated lakes and waters and beaches in the U.S., but we don't because there's no connection. So it's the same with the desalinization. There's no connection between the reactor and the heating of the water to make fresh water.
The Hyperion project, they asked you guys to distribute in China. I mean, China's a big market. That's a huge market out there. Where are you now with regards to sales with this particular project?
Well, the Hyperion reactor, you probably have heard a lot about what they call the mini reactors. That's kind of the latest craze. Bill Gates is invested in one of the up-and-coming companies in it. People see them as kind of a panacea of the ways to use nuclear technology, but not be a very large project, and yet keep the cost down. So I think people see them much like they see solar and wind today as something you can use. They all have some shortcomings, but the truth is this is something you can put down in a spot very quickly. It can provide fresh water to a small village or industrial complex. You can provide electricity to the same thing. So we see it, and like I said, in the case of the Chinese, they want it for their commercial ships. Since they're burning, I don't know how many millions of tons of diesel fuel every year to ship goods, if you will, around the world. A lot of them to the U.S. So it makes sense to get rid of that and use these small reactors to power their ships. So to answer your question, none of these mini reactor people today are ready to market one. They're all in some stage of development. And we're in the same category. We believe if we work out what I think we'll work out next month in China, we may be one of the first ones to have a mini reactor to market. At least that's our goal. The Chinese have large organizations. They have a lot of resources to commit to this, and they're very interested in it. When they commit to something, they do it, and they do it fairly quickly. In the U.S., I think we tend to be a little slower. We have to raise money. We have to do certain things. I think we may be one of the first to market on this, and I think that the demand, as we know now, over 150 commitments and growing. The CEO of Hyperion was on the radio show in New Zealand actually this morning, and there's a lot of interest in New Zealand. New Zealand's a non-nuclear country, just like the next door neighbor Australia. Yet we're seeing interest even in places like that ordinarily nuclear power has not been very well received. People seem to like these mini reactors. I think they will be a very hot item, very profitable item for companies to get into the market and actually sell them.
And the fourth project that you guys have on your board right now is the home project. You said that the cost would be about $300,000 to make it into a nuclear-powered home, right?
Well, I just gave that as an example. We attempted, we didn't attempt, we did it. We decided to find out what the market was selling in homes in this area. And so we found that the $300,000 home was selling. So we said, let's build a $300,000 home with all the same accoutrements that the competitive homes are with conventional heating and cooling and power, with our no-power home. In other words, an energy-neutral home, and which, by the way, that we trademarked, and we hope it'll be a big name one day. This describes what it is. It's a home that has no power. It's energy neutral. We built one to be competitive with this market, which is what we're selling today, and we did it, and we did it at a cost equivalent to a conventional house. Again, making it, in our opinion, kind of an easy decision to say we'd rather own this kind of home versus a home that we have to pay, $500 a month for energy bills. And not only does it eliminate the electricity bill, it eliminates the natural gas bill as well. I believe this will be the craze. It's just not well understood that it can be done now competitively.
What about the energy rebate? Do you think that's going to have a...
Yeah. That's an excellent point. And with this house that we're marketing now, we just put it on the market to sell this month. The one we used as a model home here for several months to show people how it worked. We're just putting it on the market, and what happens is if they make a down payment on the home, in this particular home, if they make about a 10% down payment and then finance the rest, about that amount will come back to them in an energy credit check. So in other words, they'll get their down payment back. And you generally have tax credits, federal tax credits, 30% on these kind of homes, and then you have some states match it up to 30% in some states, not all states. Match it. Some have 5%, some have a fixed cash amount, and some have it all the way up to matching the federal 30%. So yes, so in essence, in this case, they would pretty much get their down payment back in a tax credit check.
That's Donald Gillispie, CEO of Alternate Energy Holdings, ticker symbol AEHI, and I'm John Hanna for CDTV.net.